Since Democratic lawmakers took control of the House in January, both parties have pointed to infrastructure as an issue on which a divided Congress could find common ground. This bipartisanship is a reflection of the American people's recognition of the need to rebuild our infrastructure to promote commerce, create jobs, advance public health with clean air and clean water, and make our transportation systems safer indeed, to improve the quality of life of all Americans, said Pelosi and Schumer in a letter to the president. In his 2018 State of the Union address, Trump called on Congress to put $200 billion toward infrastructure over 10 years. He said the plan would spur $1.5 trillion in infrastructure investment including state, local and private funding. The White House held several infrastructure weeks, but the Republican Congress never took up the president's plan. White House Deputy Press Secretary Judd Deere said the president wants a bipartisan infrastructure package that rebuilds crumbling infrastructure, invests in the projects and industries of tomorrow, and promotes permitting efficiency. Pelosi and Schumer outlined their priorities in a letter to the president on Monday. Business groups are urging lawmakers and the Trump administration to fix the nation's infrastructure. In a statement, the Business Roundtable said it was encouraged by the meeting. A Business Roundtable study found every additional $1 invested in infrastructure would drive roughly $1 in economic growth over 20 years. I think it could help turbocharge the economy, said Neil Bradley, Chief Policy Officer at the U.S. Chamber of Commerce. Bradley told News Pulse Finance he thinks the meeting on Tuesday has the potential to be historic. We haven't modernized our infrastructure system and had the finances to do it in over 25 years, said Bradley. The American Society of Civil Engineers gives the United States infrastructure a D+ grade. Bradley said small businesses often feel the worst effects of deteriorating infrastructure. The number of jobs that plumber or any other service provider can do on any given day is really impacted by how much time they have to spend in traffic. And that's one of the saddest aspects of it is people's livelihood. We're actually taking jobs away from folks, he said. And it's not just roads and bridges that need upgrades. It's also our telecommunication systems and broadband that need to be improved. But it's also ports, airports, all of which frankly, are kind of lagging in the investments that we need to make, said Bradley. What small business owners think. A recent MetLife and U.S. Chamber of Commerce Small Business Index survey found 64% of small business owners said high-speed internet was very important to the success of their business, while 57% said roads and bridges were very important. Most American small businesses see local transportation infrastructure as merely average or poor, while about half of businesses worry that U.S. infrastructure is not keeping up with technological advancement in competing nations, said the survey. While both parties agree on the need to address infrastructure, they often differ on how to pay for it. That's really been the logjam between the two parties for the better part of 2 decades now, said Bradley. On the Senate floor Monday afternoon, Schumer said there are several ways to pay for an infrastructure bill. The Democratic leader said reversing the most egregious giveaways and raising the corporate tax rate a smidge would pay for a $1 infrastructure bill. To sell the idea of an infrastructure bill, lawmakers often tout the number of jobs it could create. But Bradley notes if Congress passes an infrastructure package, the question will be finding enough workers to actually build the projects. That's a good problem to have. I'd rather have that problem than the alternative, he said. These construction jobs are good jobs, they're well-paying jobs and there's a lot of work to be done. So there's a lot of certainty kind of in that career trajectory. So we have to help people get the right skills. We have to let them know about these jobs and there's a lot of work that can be done there. Jessica Smith is a reporter for News Pulse Finance based in Washington, D.C. Follow her on Twitter at @JessicaSmith8. Trump's critics say revised NAFTA has minimal projected gains lied through his teeth. Dem lawmakers slam Barr over Mueller report. FCC and White House set to announce 5G push.